Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Mets have themselves a problem, and it is a big problem. Another disgusting loss, yet disgusting series, disgusting homestand, you name it, here for the New York Mets. Absolutely embarrassing. After, that series played out in San Francisco, you come home, you're thinking okay, you got an important matchup against the Diamondbacks, got to bounce back, and you drop 2 out of 3 there, played that series extremely poor, and then you had the Sacramento Athletics coming home, who is a young team, an up and coming team, a scrappy team, but still a team that they're not better than you. You are better than the A's. So at the bare minimum, you would expect this New York Mets team to at least win 2 out of 3. And they did the complete opposite, far left from that, and got swept at home. Absolutely disgusting, disgusting performances Friday, Saturday, and then the end all be on Sunday to not even score one run against the Athletics was absolutely embarrassing. Listen, it's getting dark. Let me just say, man, the noise is getting louder and louder and louder as the L's keep trickling along. I hear people talking about Mendoza, talking about Lindor, talking about Ben. The list goes on and on. But to be honest, it's not just one guy. It's not one guy here. It's not all this. It's the whole team. The whole team is a complete embarrassment right now. And something's got to give. And if you thought that was bad, now you have to go to LA to play the best team in baseball and the best player in baseball in Shohei Ohtani. So the Mets got their work cut out for them. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, to be honest with you. Soto is still injured, so he remains out. And this has been a absolute disastrous start for the New York Mets this season. And I know the fans are going through it. I'm going through it right now. I'm trying to look at some bright spots, but I'm drawing blanks here, man. I really am drawing blanks here. I'm going to tell you something. I really can't point it at one guy. I hear a lot of people are in Lindor's case, but I think a majority of the time, these people are starting to reach now. It's gotten to a point where we're starting to reach, where we're blaming Lindor for base running. We're blaming Lindor for, trying to back up the guy, the second baseman on Saturday. I think we're reaching a little bit there. And I think that's the absolute last thing that this New York Mets team needs is for the fan base to turn on them. But they heard the boo birds. I'm sure they can take it. Listen, let's talk about the games in particular. I thought if there's any positive, I will say this. I was trying to look for positives throughout the weekend. First of all, Lindor hitting in 4 straight games, I think that's a positive. Him getting 2 hits on Sunday, I do think that's a positive. Despite coming up short, because he had an opportunity there late in the 8th inning to kind of put the Mets aboard, maybe even a home run to take the lead. He failed to do so, but I do kind of see things trending in the right direction for Francisco Lindor. Obviously, we need to see more, and I think we will. Bo Bichette, his home run on Saturday, delivering some RBIs. I thought that was a bright spot for him, and he's been kind of, slowly getting in a rhythm here. I say this very loosely because on Sunday, no hits on Sunday. So, but I do think things are trending in the right direction for Bo Bichette. Jorge Polanco continues to struggle, but he saw a home run go over the fence, and I think that is a good thing for him to kind of see. This is a guy who hit over 20 home runs for the Seattle Mariners last year, and this is a guy who I've said I think is going to be a key piece on this Mets roster once things start to click. A couple guys that, I didn't really like what I saw. Mark Vientos, a guy who I love. I was up in my channel talking so highly of him on my last video. I said he needs opportunity. He got the opportunity this whole week and was a complete no-show. Absolutely embarrassing performances from Mark Vientos. I thought Luke Weaver, a couple shaky outings from him. He looked bad. Kadai Senga looked bad. Peterson looked bad. The list goes on and on for this New York Mets team. And I start to ask myself, how do the Mets bounce back? Is it possible? What needs to happen? A lot of people are pointing out, hey, we need Soto back. We need Soto back. Listen, to be honest with you, I think even if Soto does come back tomorrow, right, it's not going to fix the issues. The issues are more than a one-person thing. I think it's a whole laundry list of things that need to kind of click. But I do think Soto obviously is an important piece to this Mets offense starting to get on a roll here. But I think the number one piece here, man, and, I I thought long and hard about this. I started to factor in some weather. I'm just like, hey, man, it's pretty hard to play in 40-degree weather here in New York with wind and wind and wind. But then you had some nice days throughout the weekend against the A's, and the Mets still couldn't hit the ball. So I was drawing blanks completely, man. It's just absolutely embarrassing performances, and to go down to lose to the A's like that. It's just it's ridiculous. It really is. But how do the Mets bounce from here, right? I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm not optimistic about this series against the Dodgers. After what I've just seen, I just can't be, to be honest with you. I would love to take at least one. That's where I'm at right now. And I hate losing series. But if you can take one in LA, I will take that. Hopefully it's not a sweep, but that's just how I am now. I'm looking at that Cubs series next weekend. I think that's going to be an important series. Remember, as I mentioned to you earlier in different videos, those wild card teams that I'm looking at the Cubs, I'm looking at the Padres, I'm looking at the Diamondbacks. You already lost one to the Diamondbacks, all right? So this next series against Chicago actually is important, and hopefully Soto could get his, his behind in the lineup for then, but that remains to be seen. Good news is that he was at Citi Field and he was throwing, so trending in the right direction is a possibility there, something that we'll definitely keep an eye on. But I think the way this New York Mets team bounces back and has any hope of anything, it starts with Francisco Lindor, man. To be honest with you, he is literally the key. All of these Met fans that are turning on him, I think it's absolutely disgusting. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I just don't understand, the people that boo him, that, are so vocally upset with him and just bashing him and bashing him. I just don't understand what that does. I don't understand how that can help a player out, right? You're at home, right? You would think that if the guy is struggling, you think Lindor is not trying? Do you think Lindor just wants to be ass right now? Do you think he wants to struggle? Like, think about that. Do you think Francisco Lindor is out there mailing it in, doesn't care, and wants to struggle? No, that's not in his personality. That's not who he's been. That's not why he has the accolades that he has. That's not why he makes the contract that he has. It's because he works hard. It's because he delivers in big time moments, and he has done so in the past. So the fan base needs to get behind him and rally for him and cheer for him. Don't just boo him. It's going to make matters worse. So, but this fan base seems to be confused, man. Some of the things is just ridiculous to me. Some of the things I read on Twitter, man. And, I would never see myself going to Citi Field and just booing a guy like Francisco Lindor, a guy who we need to turn things around. Just boo him and make matters worse. It just doesn't make sense. But he's a grown man. I'm sure he'll figure it out. But that's just my 2 cents. But the Mets, in order for them to turn things around, I think it absolutely starts with Francisco Lindor. We've seen it in the past. I'm sure you've seen the numbers. They talked about it on the broadcast. When Francisco Lindor goes, the Mets go. And that really is how it's been throughout his whole tenure. So the fans need to get behind that. They don't need to make matters worse. The dude is trying. Just try to support him, in my opinion. I think that'll help things out, to be honest with you. But when Francisco Lindor gets going, I believe it's contagious for that whole Mets lineup, man. We've seen it in the past. When he starts racking up doubles, when he starts hitting the ball out of the park, his energy is contagious, man. Like, the rest of the team really starts to go. And if we could get Francisco Lindor to get hot, I really think that's going to be the turnaround. You get Soto back. You have Lindor at least leading off, getting on base, putting the pressure, and then having Soto drive him in and deliver. That could be a whole trickle-down effect. But it's got to be a team game. So I'm looking at little things, man. I'm grabbing onto little things right now as I try to find myself some hope. I think there's a positive sign with Bo Bichette kind of starting to rattle off some hits. We're going to need him. I think there's a positive sign with Polanco hitting a home run this past weekend. I like what I saw from Luis Roberts throughout this whole season. He seems to be the only bright spot in this Mets lineup that's been consistent besides Juan Soto. So I'm looking at that, right? I'm looking at these little things. And I think once Soto gets back, if Lindor can get right, it starts with him. If Lindor can get right, Soto's right behind them, driving him in. Bo Bichette starting to trend up in the right direction. And then Polanco being a nice little, four-man right there at the cleanup spot. I think the Mets can get rolling from there. All right. Like I said, I like what I saw from Luis Roberts so far. I'm not sold on it. I don't think he's he's going to be like this the whole rest of the season. I think there's going to be a drop off at some point, but I've liked what I've seen from him. But ultimately, it starts with Francisco Lindor. But this is nothing new to us, right? We've seen this in April. It just is what it is, man. But one thing I will say is the fans booing him, I don't think that's going to help the cause at all. But honestly, Met fans, hang in there. It's a long season. You got 162 of these damn things, man. It's a long, long season. Last year, you saw us get off to such a great start, right? Such a great start. And what happened? Didn't even make the playoffs. How many times have we seen teams in the MLB get off to hot starts and then lose it and don't make the playoffs? No, it's a long season. Things are going to happen. You got to stay afloat, right? Stay afloat. Don't drop too low. Don't get too high. Don't get too low, and hit the stride and get hot at the right time. I think the Mets have a team on paper that is capable of getting hot at the right time. It's a dangerous team if all things work right. If you look at it on paper and everyone plays to their potential, this team is capable of making some noise deep late in the playoffs. So I am grabbing onto these little things. I think there is a positive in Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette's recent play. I think there is a positive in Polanco hitting his home run, even though the struggles the rest of the season. Little things like that. It's what we're going to grab onto. Francisco Lindor, like I mentioned, 2 hits today, trending up, 4 hits, all right, in the last 4 games. 4 games in a row with a hit. Come on, man. These are the little things that I want to see. So despite us, even if we get swept in LA, if I can see some Bo Bichette hits, some Lindor hits, a little bit of a smile there, some energy, something, and you kind of saw it. You saw him doing some, a little celebration. Nice little Euro step, whatever it is to get him going. These are the little things I'm looking at because it is a long season. The little things matter. It's the game within the game. That's what I'm looking at. I think the Mets are going to be all right. It's a tough time, Met fans. I understand the frustration. I thought this homestand was disgusting. I'll be honest with you. It was embarrassing. It was disgusting. But it's not over. All right, so pump the brakes. It's not over. It's a long season. I think the Mets are going to be all right. Way too good of a team. Way too talented of a team on paper. Even the bullpen. Even guys like Luke Weaver. Dude's got talent. I think the Mets are going to be all right. Whether Mendoza gets let go at some point in the season, whatever it is, the roster as is way better than what we're seeing. And it's only a matter of time before these New York Mets get rolling. And I do believe it is coming soon. All right. But it starts with Lindor. It starts with Lindor because when he starts going, the Mets win games and it's all up from there. And I think that's going to start curing a lot of things. So he's trending up. Don't let this media, critique every little mistake. Mistake happens. How many times a mistake happens on a baseball field? Have you guys played? It happens. He's trending up. Don't sleep on that. Met fans, let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button, please, and the thumbs up to support the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Hang in there, Met fans.